Welcome to CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. The go-to podcast for fractional CFOs and accounting firm owners who want to attract more high-paying clients and increase their revenue. Hosted by James Donovan from 92 Media. This podcast dives into marketing strategies specifically designed for lead generation and client acquisition. In each episode, you'll hear from industry leaders sharing their success stories and expert tactics to help you sign more lucrative clients and grow your business. Tune in and discover actionable insights to transform your marketing efforts and boost your bottom line.
John, it's so awesome to have you on today. I've been looking forward. I've had this one circled on the calendar. For those who don't know a little bit about you and who you are, do you mind giving a quick intro of yourself?
Well, it won't be that quick, but it'll be quick. 55 years of experience. I started when I was at University of Buffalo working part-time for H&R Block. I loved it. I was blessed to find out what I wanted to be when I grew up when I was 20 years old. And 12 years later, I was running 250 H&R Block offices. My dad was CFO of a public company. He decided we should computerize taxes. So in 1981, we both quit our jobs and built the first tax software for an Apple computer. No one wanted it, way ahead of its time. You're not old enough to remember a world without desktops, but there weren't even 1 million desktops in the country. And people were afraid of computers. Got lucky and found a company in Virginia Beach called Mel Jackson Tax Service. Mel had died. We bought 6 offices from his widow. We changed the name to Jackson Hewitt, merged the 2 companies, went public, and 15 years later sold it for $483 million. That was my first billion-dollar company, became a billion-dollar company after that. And first top 100 retail franchise chain. And I had a non-compete for 3 years, but my non-compete didn't cover Canada because Jackson Hewitt has never gone to Canada. And having grown up in Buffalo, I knew the Canadian tax system. I had done Canadian taxes. And we opened Liberty Tax in Canada. Within 3 years, became a top 100 retail chain. And when my non-compete ended in 2000, decided to come back to the United States. And now I had to compete against my own name, my own people, my own system, my own software. And yet, not only did we grow faster than Jackson Hewitt, we grew faster than them and H&R Block combined. We opened 4,000 offices in 12 years, almost an office a day for 12 years. And top 10 fastest growing franchisor ever. My second public company, worth $500 million. My second top 100 retail franchise chain. Again, I sold my stock after bringing in 5,000 franchisees over my career, and started Loyalty Brands. Loyalty Brands is 8 different franchise companies. Instead of, I had one at Jackson Hewitt and one at Liberty, but now I have 8. And we have 3 primary focuses. One is tax and accounting, led by our A-Tax division. Secondly is pets. That's our fastest growing division, everything pet. We're mobile grooming, Zoom and Grooming. And then our new construction division, led by CR3 Roofing. So that's my 55-year career in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, that's quite the intro. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, I have so many different questions and directions to go in from all of this. I mean, what is, if you can, pinpoint what, I guess, are some of the top things you would attribute all of your success to over the last, like you said, 55 years?
You know, I said I love top 10 lists. I start with the Bible and the 10 Commandments, and so I have a top 10 list for everything. And about 6 weeks ago, I was asked for about the millionth time, what is the number one thing you attribute your success to? And I decided to do a webinar on because it isn't just one thing. And I will give you the top thing. But I decided I'm going to come up with a top 10 list, of exponential growth, because I've been blessed with exponential growth. My two companies, 10,000 offices, 5,000 franchisees, 100 million tax returns. I mean, I've been blessed with extraordinary growth. And I said, so I'm going to come up with a top 10 of things that are the most important things. And it took me an hour to go through them. So I'm going to give you the abridged version in 3 minutes, right?
Okay.
And it takes me an hour to explain it, but it's really 12 because, and I think I get away with some top 10s that have more than 10 because the Big Ten football team has 18 teams. So if the Big Ten can call themselves the Big Ten, I can call it the top 10 reasons, but it's 12 reasons. And first is integrity, doing what you say you're going to do. Almost no one does that. Wanting the best for each and every person, not just for myself. Most people want what's best for themselves. I want what's best for each person. Commitment to improvement. My commitment is to have the best system in the industry. To have the best system, it has to be continually improving. If you're not improving, your competitors gaining on you. You need to listen to your customers. It doesn't matter what your investors think or your board of directors think or the CEO or your employees think. It only matters what the customer thinks. They pay all the bills. And the people closest to the customers are your employees. And Herb Kelleher from Nuts said, if you want your customers to be treated as number one, treat your employees as number one. So you got to listen to your employees. You have to have a vision that's fairly accurate. You have to get everyone to buy in. That means your investors, your employees, your customers, your vendors, your franchisees. Everyone has to see your vision and believe it's possible. Then you have to delegate. I think delegation is the biggest weakness in American management. Hard work, everything worthwhile requires hard work. Culture, it's not, if you look at the executives at Walmart and Kmart, it's the executive. I mean, one's a huge winner, one's a huge loser. It's the differences in how smart they are, educated, or are experienced. That's their attitude. Tom Watson Sr. said, "Give me 100 great engineers or 100 people with great attitude. I'll take the 100 people with great attitude because you can teach engineering." So it's culture of the business. You have to have systemic solutions for problems that are constantly reoccurring. You can't face the same problem over and over. You have to solve it in advance, or else you're just always fighting fires. But the number one and most important thing about success is perseverance. I've never met a human being that didn't get knocked down, that didn't face adversity. Boy, I can tell you in my life, I face adversity every day. Usually it's minor, sometimes major, but there isn't a day that goes by that I don't face adversity. And the winners always get up and they always keep going. The losers, at some point, they get knocked down and they stay down. They got to kill me to stop me. Perseverance is the number one attribute.
That's incredible. So much wisdom there. Appreciate you sharing that. Can you share a little bit about that perseverance, John? Because I know there's many days where, there's so many fires to be putting out. It feels like everything's crumbling around you. And the reality is it's probably not as bad as it actually seems, but being in the weeds every day, it feels like it's a lot worse. But you've had a ton of success. Can you talk a little bit about some of those defining moments for you where you really had to test your own perseverance?
Oh yeah, a couple times we almost went bankrupt. And one time it was my own doing that I tried to expand too quickly, and 1 year. And one time the IRS almost destroyed the industry. And both times we almost went bankrupt. But in each case, I looked at it and said, these are very dark days. But even if everyone else leaves, every other person and my employees, my hundreds of employees leave, I'm going to be here and make it to next year. And there's always next year. And I'm a person that never looks back and says, what if? What if I had done this? What if this had happened? What if this hadn't happened? I never waste a second. Every time I get burned or injured or hurt or something bad happens, I say, okay, now I'm here. And I say, okay, what's the worst case? The worst case is I'm still going. They can't stop me. So everyone else maybe run and flee, but I'm here and I'm going to keep slogging along and win. And so I always know the worst case and always focus on what the facts in this situation are, not what they could have been if something different had happened.
That's cool. With growing such a massive business and so many locations and managing so many people, how do you decide each morning what's the next rock that needs to be moved, or what are the little things that need to happen so that that big rock can get moved?
Yeah, well, for example, when every year we we already know what our goal is, and so in tax, our goal is to have one more office than the largest player, and that's H&R Block, and they have 9,001 locations. So our goal is to have 9,000 locations. Our goal is to have 9,001. But when you start at zero, that's crazy. I mean, it's going to take 20 years, right? So you say, okay, in 20 years, we're going to have 9,000. So that's ridiculous and almost insane. That's just crazy, right? I walk the tightrope or the high beam of crazy. You have to have set big, hairy, audacious goals. But then you bring it down into 5 years. Okay, if we're going to have 9,000 offices in 20 years, how many are we going to have in 5 years? And you say, okay, well, we need 1,000. And okay, if we need 1,000 in 5 years, how many do we need in 3 years? Well, we need 400. And okay, if you need 400 in 3 years, how many do we need in 1 year? Well, we need 100. So now you're thinking, okay, 9,000 in 20 years, you've broken it down into little pieces, right? And so now you break into 100. Well, then I need to add 9 a month. And you say, well, each franchisee is going to open 1.5 offices. So I'm going to need 6 new franchisees every month. And then you say, well, I need 100 leads to get a franchise. So I'm going to need 600 leads a month. So my salesperson has to go get me 600 leads. And then my training department, okay, if we're going to train 6 new franchisees a month, my sales department says, okay, then how many trainers do I need? And my franchise sales department says, if we're going to sell 6 a month, each salesman can just sell 3 a month or 2. So I need 2 or 3 salesmen. So you go hire 2 or 3 salesmen, you get 600 leads, you get the training department, and then once they're up and operating, then they need support people. One support person can handle 40 new franchises. So, okay, so I need X number of support. So you start out with this big, audacious goal and get it down to little snippets of what I need to do each month. And then the most important part of delegation is monitoring, that you make sure you're on track. And if you only do 3 the first month and you're supposed to do 6, then you see what your problems are and see if you need to either reduce your goal or you need to give more assets to the sales team or the training team or the operations support. But you break it up into monthly, eventually small monthly numbers. 9,000 offices is huge, but 9 a month is doable.
That's so interesting. It sounds so simple when it's broken down like that. Appreciate you sharing that. We're obviously a marketing company. We work directly with accounting firms, tax professionals, fractional CFOs. So you're talking about leads. That's always a big topic for what we do with our clients. What do you still, I guess, attribute a lot of your success to right now for generating leads, and what's worked really well for you in the past for marketing so that you were able to hit those goals of 600 leads and get your sales calendar full?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Feeling like your growth has hit a plateau?
even though you're putting in the work? Maybe you're attracting clients, but not the high-end ones who see your true value as an advisor. Or you're stuck in compliance mode with all the big wins happening just a few months of the year. I get it. It's frustrating. And it's not how you envisioned your business evolving. That's why I'm offering a strategy call designed specifically for business owners ready to break through these barriers. This isn't just about leads. It's about creating a strategy that aligns with your marketing, personal brand, and sales approach to attract clients who pay what you're worth. Imagine starting the new year with a clear plan, a stronger personal brand, and more high-ticket clients. If you're serious about taking things to the next level and want a true growth partner, now's the time. Visit accountingleadsnow.com or click the link in the show notes to book your strategy call. Don't let another month pass by without a roadmap to achieve the results you're after. I'm here to help you make the shift.
Well, first of all, I'm a CEO and I'm a big picture guy. And I'm zero. And Peter Drucker said, people with great strengths have great weaknesses. And one of my weaknesses is detail. So I hire people that do detail. So we have probably 15 or 17 sources of leads, right, that we're buying. You have to do a great job of within your system getting referrals, right? So you have to get referrals out of your system. You have to get expansions out of your system. So the leads I know for sure about are people that are expanding and people that are referring. All of the other detail of what types of leads we buy and how much we spend on each companies like yourself, I zero involved in. I have people that do that. And if you try to do everything, and that's delegation, you find the right people and you give them a go. And as long as they're delivering, remember that 600 a month? As long as they're delivering 600 a month and we're closing 6 a month, then I'm happy. And if we're not, then I go to them and help them figure out the problem. But I leave it up to my people. And so the details like that are beyond my interest.
Okay. Interesting. What would you say to the other accounting firm owners, tax professionals, CFOs, and just the average business owner who's listening who maybe they're not patient enough with marketing. They're not patient enough with a proven process. Because I'm sure there must have been a couple of rough months where like you weren't hitting certain KPIs for enough leads or enough sales. And I can't imagine with all the success you've had, you said, well, let's pack it in. It's not working. I'm sure there must have been a time where you're trusting the process. I'd love to hear what that's like.
Well, first of all, I don't agree. I think one of the characteristics of great entrepreneurs, not all entrepreneurs, but great entrepreneurs are impatient. So I don't agree impatient. And I don't agree you should be patient. I think that if you're not meeting your goals, if for example we started out and we were only doing 400 leads, I would spend more time with my marketing team, my marketing executive, to until we got it up to 600. And I would say, have we tested this? Have we tested this? Have we tested this? I'm a big proponent of testing things, and I'm also a big proponent of things that are working. So let's say we had 17 different things that were working, or that we were trying, and 3 were doing nothing. Well, I would say get rid of those 3, and 2 were doing the best. I would say let's spend more on those 2. So I would get with the team and investigate the data and help them get up to their goals. But I don't want to be patient with lack of marketing. I am impatient. I am incredibly impatient. I'll give you an example of that. In my career long ago, my marketing director has been with me 35 years. And she has this disease that every year the television commercials had to be different. And to me, that's a little silly. I mean, they're only run during a few months during the season. Why not use the same ones next year? But she just has to create, she has to create new ones every year. But one year she brought them to me and they were horrible. They were just horrible. And she said, they're good. And I said, they're horrible. So I made her we did a test in early January. And back then, this was back in the 90s, when the only there was the three major stations and Ted Turner's station, whatever that was, TBN. And on Ted Turner's station was Oprah Winfrey. And so that was a national. So I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take last year's ad and run it on Oprah Winfrey at 2:15. And then on Wednesday. And then on Thursday at 2:15, we'll run this year's ad. And I don't care which one you run first, you get the pick. We're going to put an 800 number in and see how many calls we got. So she picked to do hers first this year. And she got one call, it was the wrong number. Then the next day we put up the last year's ad and we got 18 calls. And so I said, scrap the new and go to the old. So I was totally impatient. So we saved the season and it was just, she should have done that test herself, by the way, right? She shouldn't need me to do the test, but I have a little use, my top executives, I always have great people and they whine when I don't agree with them. And because 98% of the time I give them their way and I rubber stamp, but some of them, the more controlling and successful they've been in their lives, they say, you don't trust me. And I said, if I don't ever overrule you, then what value am I? I rubber stamp 97, 98, 99% of what you do, but I'm not going to give you 100% approval. Then I'm useless.
That's awesome. That's cool. What I'm also hearing from you, John, and correct me if I'm wrong, is yes, you don't have to be exactly super patient with something, but you're also not completely scrapping and giving up on marketing in general. Like testing is super important. That needs to happen, obviously, but just, I guess, jumping and saying, well, this whole platform doesn't work because it didn't work for whatever amount of time, but let's test something else. Let's get creative. Let's do something else. That's what I'm hearing from you with all of that.
Absolutely. And it may be the wrong time of day. It might be the wrong message. It might be but it may be the wrong vehicle. And I'm always up for tinkering. If you're not getting the results that you expect, then you need to at least tinker. And eventually, if you can't get it right, you get rid of them. But tinker until you get it right.
Awesome. John, what are you most proud of over the span of your career?
I've changed tens of thousands of people's lives, and and in addition to that, when I change a family's life, like they have children, and then they become millionaires, and they have employees. Like the 5,000 franchise had 100,000 employees. So if I change your life and help make you a millionaire, it changes your children's lives, your grandchildren's lives, your employees' lives, and you pay it forward. So I've had so much impact to hundreds of thousands of people. I'm not Elon Musk, and I heard him say the other day, okay, and I like Elon Musk in general, but he said the other day, the most impactful human being ever on the planet was Elon Musk. And I thought about it, and maybe it is, with his SpaceX and his Tesla and whatever he sold first. I mean, he's an incredible changer of the world. And, his company's worth more than, I would have never believed it 10 years ago, that a car company could come in and not only be bigger than Ford and General Motors and Toyota and Volkswagen and Rolls-Royce, but bigger than all of them combined. I would never have believed it. So in a much smaller way, I've had a huge impact on the human race in making the world a better place and changing lives. And that is just, there's nothing more rewarding than changing people's lives and improving their lives.
That's amazing. John, is there any books you recommend to other entrepreneurs or individuals I'll just stop there. Is there any books you recommend to other entrepreneurs or?
Sure. I have for my franchisees, I create a book list. So I have a constant changing book list. But for since I don't have time to read them all up and tell you about them, I will say this, that there are two authors that I agree everything they've written, Peter Drucker and Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie and Peter Drucker. And also, I believe that in life in the United States, in school, they don't teach you the four most important things. Number one is about God. They don't teach you about God anymore. Number two is they don't teach you how to be a significant other. They don't teach you how to have a relationship. They don't teach you how to raise children. And they don't teach you how to become independently wealthy. And if you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, in the first 60 or 90 pages, you learn all you need to know about the key to developing wealth in this country. So, and the opportunity. I mean, I believe that our country is great because of capitalism, and two reasons: capitalism and melting pot. That we're a melting pot of the world, and so every country has had immigrants into the United States, and so we're the greatest country in the world because of capitalism. And you learn about how to take advantage of it with Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I would read anything Dale Carnegie to start, anything Peter Drucker, and Rich Dad, and at least the first 90 pages of Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Awesome. Great recommendations. John, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your time with us. This has been an awesome conversation, and I can't wait for everyone to listen to this.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. We hope today's episode provided valuable strategies to help you attract more high-paying clients. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share with fellow professionals. Connect with us on LinkedIn and leave a review or comment to join the conversation. Your feedback helps us bring you the best insights in finance and marketing. Until next time, keep striving for success and unlocking your business's potential.